Ciao from Bologna. Hey, welcome. Let's catch up on the adventures of day one. I guess first and foremost, the most obvious thing to say is I'm in Bologna. Yay, I made it. Honestly, part of the reason that I didn't record the whole process of like me getting ready and me coming here and everything was because I just left everything to the last minute and I was like, this is going to be like a thriller that nobody is going to enjoy watching. Because I'll be like, will she make it? Will she not? Will she make it? Will she not? So it just kind of made more sense to wait till I got here to actually do like proper recordings and share the process and everything like that. But yeah, I've come here to Bologna for the watercolor event, which is going to start tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. Day one went well. In terms of like packing, because why not? Let's have a chat about packing for art trips and getting ready and everything. Got a question in the Q&A that was actually about, do I tend to change my palettes before going on trips? Honestly, normally I don't. Normally I have like a core palette of core colors and I can leave a video linked of like or the latest video that I've done of one of my core palettes. And maybe I will think about where I'm going and think about the colors that really speak to me when I think about that place, and then add a few colors, like key colors that I think would enhance the palette and make it more related to that place. So that's what I normally do. And this time, a few hours before I had to leave for my flight, I looked at my palette and I was like, this isn't it. Like I don't know, it was so bizarre. It's literally I looked at it and I was like, these are not the colours that are speaking to me, any of them. In terms not any of them, that sounds so drastic. It's not like all of a sudden I hated all 21 colours. It is my main palette. But I don't know, I was looking at it and I was like, this isn't giving Italy. It's not, I don't know, I just had this urge to change my entire palette. Can you imagine, like 2 hours before I had to leave? So that is what I did. I can kind of make a separate video just highlighting some of the colors that I picked and why. But ultimately, when I think of Bologna and when I think about Italy and certain parts of Italy, there are certain like more earthy colors that I think about. Obviously, like siennas, yellow ochres, Venetian reds, like those kind of more earthy colors that I don't tend to use. So they don't tend to feature in my palette. It's a balance for me where it's not like all of a sudden I want my whole palette to be earth colors, because that would be a completely different color palette to what I normally use. But I wanted it to be a bit earthier, a bit, not drastically. I'm sure you look at my palette and be like, it's the same thing. But I wanted it to be a bit earthier. So I decided to make a few of those changes and I kind of recorded part of the process. I'm curious, based on this palette, would you know where in the world I am or I am going? Anyway, I guess recapping on day one, so far so good. I made it here, which is always a plus. In terms of like recapping from the beginning, I left my packing till way too late. I then managed to change up my whole color palette, and that's the other risk which I'm hoping will pay off. But like, I didn't even bring my main palette. I just brought this new palette that I'd mixed that I didn't let dry. That was a mistake. I then brought a super new cute palette, which I'll share with you. I'll share all of this with you later. I just kind of thought it would be nice to have like a diary one-on-one kind of thing. But yeah, then made up another little palette of Roman Schmoll, which again I will show you, and had some of my main colours but not all of my main colours. On getting here, often like taking public transport, one, I feel like it gets, I get to see the scenic route, but also it's always ultimately cheaper. So I took the train from the centre from the airport to the centre of Bologna, that's £12.80, and it's like a 10-minute ride that feels like a roller coaster. Feels like a roller coaster, but we made it. Even in the plane, like when we were on the plane, the pilot started off by saying like,
nothing to worry about, but we're going to have to start with one engine and then afterwards we're going to start with the other engine. But don't worry.
and I was like, wait, what? What is he saying? Like, we were fine. I made it. But yeah, I was just like, what is this trip? So yeah, once I made it into central Bologna, I thought like, you know what, let me go to an art store. It's a nice way to like get cozy, get familiar, have a, a sense of destination as to where I'm going to, as opposed to just a hotel. So I went there and the people really lovely, really sweet. There were a range of different brands like Golden. It surprised me to see Golden because I feel like I don't tend to see it that much in UK art stores. So that was cool to see. Pan pastels were also there, which is good because I brought some. Like I said, my packing this trip, wild. But there was like Pan Pastels, My Mary Blue, Winsor & Newton, Schminke. So yeah, there were quite a few brands. There were also like a few watercolor pads and things. I didn't end up getting anything. It's always kind of tricky when you're traveling with like limited liquid allowance and yada yada yada, like. And then also I feel like I have enough. So it's not like I saw something that I was desperately like, oh my gosh, I need to get it. I always look in shops because I've stopped buying souvenirs. Instead, when I go on trips like this, what I will often do is buy something from like the local art shop. So then or get things that are actually practical and that I need, as opposed to souvenirs, because it's just starting to feel like souvenirs are, for me, a bit of a waste of money because I don't know what to do with them once I take them home. Whereas, buying a sketchbook or a pencil or I don't know, something that I need from that actual place, for me has a little bit more meaning. So I was on the lookout for something like that. I didn't see it, but if I do, I will. And I always feel like it's a nice way to like also support the local economy and keep art stores going. So I don't mind paying a bit more if it's an in-person art store, if that makes sense. So I did that and then came to the hotel. At that point, there were thunderstorms. From beautiful weather to thunderstorms, but it was fine because I took a nap. I was so tired. I hadn't slept in over a day. And on waking up, I went to the beautiful Piazza Maggiore. Stunning. Bologna is beautiful. Like the weather felt perfect. Like, not too hot, not too cold. Everybody was relaxed walking around. There was an artist singing and playing the guitar, and it was just really, really lovely. I quickly looked up where I could eat nearby and found like a little cozy restaurant again near the Piazza Maggiore, and got pizza, obviously. And some Coke, and the food was delicious. The atmosphere was lovely. It was just really lovely and peaceful. And I took plenty of pictures. Did bring my art supplies with me, but I've kind of mentioned this. It's always like a little bit tricky for me when I go on holiday. Not even holiday. I feel like I've mentioned it that I'm a laissez-faire painter, a laissez-faire artist, which is interesting because this is obviously like a plein air and urban sketching event. But I like to be comfortable and in the mood to paint or draw. If I'm not, or then I don't do it. So I had contemplated like, oh yeah, just doing a few sketches, but it would have been for the sake of doing sketches as opposed to because I wanted to. So I just took today as like a rest day, a rest and explore. And then, oh my gosh, coming back took me almost 2 hours because like I got a hotel slightly further out thinking that it would be cheaper. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. And yeah, almost 2 hours. Part of me actually didn't totally mind because I was just walking around, hit my 10K steps today. But yeah, just walking around, experiencing Bologna, getting to see new places. It's that thing of like, you don't get lost, you only discover new places. Lots of buses were like, on diversion, so some of the bus stops weren't working, yada, 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 yada. So basically 2 hours later, I made it back to the hotel. But that being said, it was still really lovely. I got to see some beautiful streets. I was quite relaxed. I had my art supplies with me in case like the mood to draw or paint took me. I met like a really nice older gentleman. At some point we were waiting so long that he was like, oh, maybe we should go for aperitivo, or like, just go for drinks and stuff. But then my bus came at that very moment. Part of me was still like, oh, maybe I should just miss the bus and just go and chill. But honestly, like I'd waited an hour for this bus. I was like, I can't I can't lose this bus. I can't. I just need to go back. I don't know if it's the last bus. And, taking an Uber would have cost. And this is the thing that's wild, yeah. It was an 11-minute drive. So taking an Uber would have cost £25 for 11 minutes. And I was like, I just can't do it. I'll just wait for the bus, thinking each time that, I'll catch this bus and I'll get there. But then the buses never came and 20 minutes turned into 2 hours. But anyway, I'm here now. I'm really excited that I'm in Bologna. Yeah, I brought like a whole bunch of really cute stuff. I brought this, which you can see. So I brought my etcher filled case, and in it I have filled it to the brim. So I have like pencils here at the front. I have some Tombos in the back. I brought pencils, again kind of thinking about the location. I brought like a range of different pencils. Some of them are like the luminance pencils, the polychromos pencils, to just add extra details, maybe do outlines. Some of them are like special pencils. So I brought some Inktense, like ones that I can reactivate with water. So again, I have 2 for the price of 1. And then I also brought some pastel pencils because I like the textures that they can bring. So I kind of brought those special pencils. I also brought my travel brushes, and I brought an array of them. I don't know how my travel brush collection has grown, but it has. And then I brought my super cute, look at this, I'm going to debut this later on, but my super cute Roma Schmall watercolour palette. I brought some brushes, tempera sticks. I also brought my artist toolkit, which I'm leaving to dry. Spoiler alert, I think it's obvious to everyone. It was obvious to me too, but still I was in a rush, so I just put paint, closed it and went. Let the pans dry before you do that. So it's drying now, so that should be fine by tomorrow. Brought two or three sketchbooks. I always bring too many sketchbooks, but it's because I don't know what I'm going to create and where and what size I want. So I brought like my small little square sketchbook that's Etcher. And then I also brought the B5 version. And then I also bought the Royal Talons Art Creations, which again, it's not even that I like the sketchbooks. I just like the idea of having a low pressure sketchbook, like a place where I can just do sketches and doodles and not worry or think about it or anything like that. I think in honesty, what I wanted was the Sea White of Brighton, or actually making my own. I'd made one, it was too big. So I think I might do that and just make my own sketchbooks. Obviously I still have like my own mini sketchbooks which are available for sale. I'll leave it linked down below, but I want like more pages and slightly bigger. Does that make sense? Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'll make it happen. I'll make it happen. But that's essentially the supplies that I brought here with me. Oh my gosh, that's not all. I also brought this, which I know is this is the pencil case that came with the Sarah Burns travel brushes. So I brought a couple of the brushes, and then I also brought some pan pastels. Like, when I say that the art supplies that I brought are wild and nonsensical, I'm not even joking. And I know that is the case, but I literally wanted to be that if I'm like, oh, I'm inspired, I need to use pan pastels. Bam, I have them. Have I ever used pan pastels while traveling? No. But you never know, so I've pretty much brought everything, and that's in here as well. So between this and the etcher filled case, I've just brought mixed media lover's dream, basically, with all the different supplies that I have. But that's a wrap up for day 1. Probably take another shower, chill, and then go to sleep. Today was day 1 of Fabriano In Acquarello, and it was awesome. I had a wonderful time. I kind of want to tell you like, oh, the day started off with breakfast, which it did, because, you know, I feel like I always have to get breakfast included because I'm not a morning person. Otherwise, I'm just not motivated in the mornings. But anyway, did that, then rested in a hotel for a bit, then explored Bologna for a bit. And then in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, all these artists met up in one of the squares to just like paint. And it was incredible. Like there were just so many artists, all skill levels, just painting everywhere, and it was just amazing to see, you know, to see Bologna depicted in these paintings. It was just absolutely unreal. And it's funny because everyone was obviously painting the same things or similar, you know, area, but completely different. And it was really inspiring. As I'm gonna be honest, because you know we're friends here. But I don't know, every time that I'm like around artists, not every time, but sometimes when I'm around artists, I all of a sudden start getting, shy isn't the word, but like I just felt like in awe over all the skill that I was seeing and the paintings that they were creating. Like at a point I was like, okay, I'm not going to paint. I'm just going to watch everyone else painting. Because I was just so enamored by it. Then I was like, okay, I am going to paint, but I was just worried that people would come and look at my paintings and be like, oh, what are you doing? What is this? So I was kind of like a little bit self-conscious, and I've mentioned this before, like sometimes when I'll then see artists and they'll be like, oh, you know, are you an artist? You'll be like, oh no, I you know, I paint a little bit, or, you know, like I like play it down massively. Anyway, so it was one of those things. I was just so amazed. I was having a wonderful time. I did decide to start painting because after all, that's why I came here. And I did this painting. It's again Piazza Maggiore, which is what I drew and painted yesterday, but it's a different angle, looking at it from a different way, basically facing a different direction. And it's so funny because, yeah, I don't know, I almost like, you know how everyone's always talking about their style, the style, the style. I don't see my style. That being said, I almost, you know, I like the painterly watercolor style that I see other people create with. And I know that that's not what I tend, like the way that I tend to paint all the time. But anyway, I love this painting. I kind of feel like it's not finished, it's not complete. But I don't think I'm going to go back and change it, if that makes sense. It just kind of feels like, oh, there could be more that I could do. But it felt like a good place to stop. While I was there admiring all these amazing artists and painting, and like randomly this guy was like chatting to me, you know, like it's just a random, probably homeless guy. Anyway, I was sat there. Then Ashley Hawks, who also has a YouTube channel, I'll leave her linked down below, happened to see me and like came over, and I thought she was initially just like coming over to kind of, you know, save me, like, you know, doing me a favor and kind of ending the conversation with the guy, because I was a bit uncomfortable. But it was that, and the fact that she actually recognized me. She was like, oh hey, I watch you. And then anyway, we hit it off. She's so awesome, so lovely. She was also there with someone that she'd met called Georgia, who was also really awesome. So be like, Georgia,
Hi! Ciao!
hey,
Buongiorno!
buongiorno. The first bit, as I said, was just us painting and watching the kind of area. And by us, I mean like just artists around. And then there was like the main opening of the event. So after chatting for a bit, we went to the main opening of the event and saw a demonstration. Incredible. And that was also really lovely, and Ashley knows everyone, so that was really nice, like a nice way to, yeah, it's just so nice to actually get to chat with people who love watercolor as much as I do, and who enjoy it as much as I do. So I'm massively glad that I came and that I am here. And yeah, I love this cute little painting that I did. And I also have the paintings and the drawings and things from yesterday that I did in this hotel room. Just trying to think of things that I don't want to forget. Oh, from there, from there we went to eat. So we went out for dinner, and that was delicious, as you would expect in Italy. And then from there I came back to the hotel and kind of chat with my mum, then chat with my sister. So all in all, it was a really wonderful day. It did have me thinking about like my setup, you know, just because I don't regret the supplies that I brought. You already know this. I'm an overpacker. I know that I'm an overpacker. I know that I should carry less. I know that I don't need everything that I carry, but I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And that's something that I'm working on and fine tuning. But anyway, so I was doing that, but then I was thinking, like, I was sat on the floor, got a bit uncomfortable after a while, and I saw everyone like with their pochade boxes and everything and their chairs, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I should do this. Like, I wonder if I should get a small chair for my next like art event. I think I'm going to do that because I think ultimately that will make me more comfortable and thus more willing to paint and create. So for my board, obviously there's a range of different boards out there, and I usually, if I know I'm going on a long trip or an art trip, I would bring my Etcher Slate Mini, but I had limited space and it's quite big, so I was like, okay, I can't bring that. So instead I have this makeshift thing that I've made, and essentially it is foam board, and then I've stuck on some magnetic strips, and what that means is that it can hold on to like my metal palettes, and I can slot it into my sketchbooks. Trust me to struggle while I'm trying to get it on camera, but basically I can slot it into my sketchbook like that and just hold it, like, you know, the clips hold it in place, and then that means that I have my palette here and then I have my paint here, which is fine. I feel like for some short bits, or maybe if you're, you know, in a cafe and stuff, but I'm just trying to think of like ways that I can get a little bit more comfortable when painting or creating. I don't know, so I may try, I think for my, I'll see. So I think I need to once maybe start using my Etcher Slate Mini more. Yeah, and then what else? I'm tempted by pochade boxes. There was something about seeing all these. Then again, I don't know if I would want that kind of attention, because I kind of feel like by the time that you're bringing out the pochade box and, you know, people are like, no, you're the real deal. Like, you know, I kind of like that I was like covert and discreet. Like, I don't even know how Ashley saw me. Like, I was just in the corner with my tiny sketchbook, just like quickly painting. And I kind of liked that, that covertness of it. That being said, I feel like I also like having more space and more of a platform, and it's a question of how can I achieve that without having lots of weight and without taking up too much space. So obviously this is working for me for now, but I'll keep thinking, you know what I mean? And also, in honesty, I think the main issue for me is water. It's always water, isn't it? So I have like a little cup that I carry with me, and that is fine, but it's not magnetic, so that's not the greatest thing. So I should probably get like a little magnetic cup. I also have my camping bottle, but again, it's not magnet friendly. So then that means it doesn't kind of stick to this setup, which I love this setup because it's light and it's portable and DIY. Like, you can just do it yourself and it's quite easy. And I'm using the artist toolkit, which is working beautifully. I'll make a video about the colors that I put in. Oh, so I was basically saying that, yeah, so I'm really enjoying the artist toolkit palette, and then I've also made a cute little version of my Roman Schmoll palette in terms of like my fountain pens, which were fine on the flight. I know that loads of people get worried about flying with fountain pens. I personally haven't had an issue, and I have taken them on many flights ranging from 2 hours to 10 hours, and they were fine. I even used them on a plane, but I do know that that's a little bit more risky, so I don't necessarily recommend it. But again, I had no issues. I do keep them upright. I don't know if that makes a difference when I'm on flights, and I have tissue nearby just in case. And I also put them in plastic bags, again, just in case they leak. I don't want them to go everywhere. But touch wood, thank God, I haven't had any issues with bringing that. I don't know, with time I will refine my kit. I don't mind having a breadth of supplies and then limited colours. Maybe that might be the way to go about it. I am so excited. God forgive me. I don't know if this is like, let me be honest. Again, like I said, we're friends, right? I am so excited because there's going to be art supply brands tomorrow. And I am so excited to buy art supplies, or to at least look around, maybe see what's new, maybe see if there's anything that, you know, catches my eye. Like I'm just yeah, my hope, my prayer is that there'll be like plenty of supplies that I want at really great prices. Maybe, hopefully, that would be great. But that's what I'm really excited for tomorrow, and it starts at 11. I just can't wait. So I'm gonna wake up, have breakfast. That's a recap of day one, like the world's longest vlog. I don't even know if this makes sense. And it's going to be chop and change, but I hope that you enjoy it, and I like doing the little recaps with you. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.